Okay, hello friends. Hopping on a little later than I want. My dad gave me a call, so it was kind of important, so needed to talk to him for that moment. But we're here. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the lunch highs and lows for liquidity. I like how we're above the new week opening gap. I like how we have these equal highs on the higher time frame. I'm liking longs. I am liking longs. So let's highlight that lunch liquidity. Let's see. This is ES. Let's see what NQ looks like. NQ. I like to look at ES a little better. I liked how ES price action delivered this morning better, so I'm going to focus on that going into lunch PM session. Okay. So we're above the new week opening gap, which coincides with this 15-minute fair value gap, which also kind of coincides with this 15-minute breaker structure. So I do like longs. I would have liked it a lot more if this low came and swept that low, just because that'd be like sweeping the lunch lows. Let's see what it came to the tick. We had a low of 43.6275. That low was 43.6275. So those are equal lows. See what the dollar's doing. Dollar has been kind of sideways ever since the morning session. We've dropped a little bit, but if we want to see it price action go higher, we want to see the dollar drop. Again, I explained this morning, I still can't get that image up, which I want to share this image, but there is a common distribution for ICT where it's like a weekly distribution, but it's just kind of a principle of general distribution, so we can adjust the time frame how we want. Where you start the week on Monday, look in the lower chart, and you go lower, engaging people thinking they're going short, come up, raise it above them to stop them out, head into a premium to send it lower again. So that's what I'm kind of thinking is happening right now, especially with this morning's price action. Just want to outline that liquidity that was taken this morning. Some higher time frames. Yeah, so I like the idea of running this buy side. We do need at least 10 handles of probability. It's less than 10 handles to the buy side itself, but we could go a lot higher. There's the probability of going higher. Okay, so 2 o'clock. See how this plays out. I would enter this if this was created a nice fair value gap and we dropped into it. I'd buy 2 there. Definitely have to wait for that candle to print. Whoa, okay. Yeah, definitely make sure you wait for the candle to print. Got the dollar dropping a little bit. This is the low after that high up there. So if we take that low, I would like that. There we go, fair value gap. Stop loss, bottom of that, 9 ticks. I like that. Might not enter us in. Let's see. Okay, so the premise here is we're targeting these buy side. I like this just because we haven't really taken any significant 5-minute high. We're above the new week opening gap. Okay, entered in there. Stop below this candle. It's the first candle that formed this fair value gap. We got the dollar going a little lower. Let's see how it treats this fair value gap. Kind of targeting these 5-minute highs right here. It's also 15-minute highs. I want to see it start to move away from this fair value gap. I like how the dollar is going a little lower. Came down to fair value gap, close it in. Okay, so the dollar's dipping below this swing low. I like that. I want to see us get animated as we move away from this fair value gap. Again, the idea is we're trying to target liquidity. We have the stop. Again, we have the stop right below this candle. That is the first candle out of the 3 that makes the fair value gap. It's also right below this down close candle. If we want, we could also put it just right at the bottom of that down close candle. We should see down close candles support upward price action. If we truly are in a quote buy program, we'd want to see down close candles support upward price action. get these orders off just so I can see the wicks right here. We do have this little fair value gap right here, which would make sense if it wanted to drop into. Dollar seems like it does want to go a little lower below this low. Okay, that's a bummer. On a little bit of a losing streak here on the channel. Not the best, especially since, look at it. Came down, wicked. Let's see, if we got animated up above this, I'd re-enter it. Just wasn't the best stop placement. See how it closes. Okay, that's going down. Down for right now. We're still in this, so we got this range from lunch. It's the lunch high and the lunch low. So these are our liquidity targets. I'd be more willing to go short if price had taken out this 5-minute swing high. But since it didn't, I'm just going to wait and see. Curious to see if this down close candle on the 5-minute acts as an order block. So you had the change in state of delivery, shift in market structure. Just waiting, being patient. Yeah, so I definitely want to see us do something with the edges of this range. So this is our dealing range right here. I have the lunch high and the lunch low. I want to see, I'm waiting for some kind of agitation and liquidity, and then a reason to believe that one of these are going to be drawn to. That could either be, we run up here, take the buy side and go lower, or it can be the opposite. We come down, sweep the sell side to go higher. Even if we took an interim, like a 5-minute high, if this right here took that 5-minute high, I would have been more confident going short. But since it didn't, I'm just gonna sit and wait. It is kind of just melting. Not much we can do right here. So we're just waiting. Just waiting. We have some equal lows down here. It'd be decent to target. Also a new week opening gap. Normally, so our rules are we need at least on ES 10 handles of probability. We don't have 10 handles to these targets. We're a little too close to them. But we're waiting and seeing. Came down. So this large down close candle is the wick on this 5 minute. But I like how aggressive it goes and then changes. This is a good concept of the change in the state of delivery. So it wants to go higher. It's right here. It's going higher. It's going higher. We come down, change in the state of delivery, go higher. So if we wanted to see higher prices, the price came down. You notice it kind of melted right here, but then this candle had some intention behind it. Came down, tapped the top of this, then we reacted strongly. It's interesting to see how it didn't continue going. It just came right back down. It's a little crappy. We are just in a melt right now. So nothing too much that we can trade in the last 20 minutes. Dollar seems to be just kind of consolidating right above these lows. Okay, so we're heading back towards the new week opening gap. Let's see what happens. Does it want to come down and sweep these equal lows, possibly to bounce and go higher? Or does it want to get real heavy below these lows and start running for this sell side? Dollar seems to be rising. Not much action here. I really thought we were going to go for this buy side. It just set it up really nicely. Like it came really close to taking this London high. And then we've been consolidating over the lunch period, so I thought it would want to take it before it reversed. Didn't happen, so it could be a target for later on in the session. We also have GDP coming out this Wednesday with Fed Powell speaking. I'm curious as to how, I'm going to make sure to note in my journal this week on how price behaves this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. GDP is on Thursday. My apologies. Because I'm wondering if it'll behave similar to CPI, and it's just like the common denominator is Powell speaking, or the FOMC. That's what I meant to say. If the price action leading up will be similar to FOMC since Powell speaks on Thursday. Usually for the FOMC, it's just a lot of sloppy sideways action. I really want to see it come lower before it goes higher. I'd want to see it do something like these candles previously. They came down really aggressively and then aggressively ran away. Except what I'd want to see is it aggressively come down, go below these, and then aggressively move away. If that was to happen, would look for an entry to the upside. But if it bottoms here and goes upside, it's kind of yucky, because now we're just consolidating into a smaller and smaller and smaller range. Usually when you see this, it's like, no, I think retail calls it, it's like a pennant pattern. What it's really doing is it's trying to catch people who are trying to either do breakouts or play the range, and it's just inducing liquidity. So what it's doing is it's getting people to trade, and then it agitates liquidity, and then moves in a direction. So that's what we'll be waiting for. We're going to wait to see an agitation in the liquidity, and then a reason to enter. And the hard part is it could do this until 3 o'clock. So this is the end of our silver bullet window. Now is also one of the times when you want to watch the 1 minute and the 5 minute, or I watch the 1 and the 5, but you want to compare NQ and ES to see if there's any SMT divergences, because that can help you identify sweeps of liquidity. And this is trading. A lot of waiting. And it's hard because it's a lot of focused waiting. You have to actually be paying attention to what everything is doing. Okay, let's see how we behave around this new week opening gap. "30 minutes in to the session. Gonna take a quick peek at NQ. Still above that new week opening gap. I like ES because see how it's respecting the bottom of its new week opening gap right now, and NQ is not. It kind of had a few closes below before like crawling its way back up. This just makes more sense. We didn't close below it. We bounced at it. So that's why I'm watching ES this afternoon session. But they're performing very similarly. Making almost the same exact high and low structure. Okay, I'm looking at the dollar going up. Just waiting. Sorry I can't be more entertaining. It's just not what I want to do here. But I will be here for when something happens, so. Okay, so on the dollar, we had the 1, 2, 3. We had this little 3 drives pattern. Let's see if that is a catalyst to make it want to start taking these highs. If the dollar starts taking highs, we would expect the indices to start taking lows because they work inversely. But we are still in this range, so okay. Showing some upside potential. Like that, like that. See how it behaves off this. Stopped right at it, push right through it. Okay, I want to see how it reacts around these highs, these swing highs. Okay, so use that as an inversion, or I guess it's reclaimed now because it was originally a BISI and it's using it back up to the buy side. I'd be very cautious of this upside run as the dollar is also going up. Well, let's see. So NQ, this is one you want to compare. NQ is above this swing high. Okay. Dollar's still going up. watching this fair value gap right here. I want to see if price reacts off of it. Because what I would like, again, to reiterate, if we were to sweep these highs and then look for an entry lower, but since we haven't swept these highs yet, I'm not convinced that we're going to go lower yet. And we took it on the NASDAQ, this one high, but that's not super convincing for me. Let's see that candle body closed right at the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. A little lower, but the dollar's still going higher. That is a rough range. Dollar's pushing higher still, but it hasn't taken out any significant highs yet. It's getting close. So hopefully when that happens, we'll start to see some movement to one side of the market or another. Again, this might be our day. This might be our daily range. We did move a lot the last Thursday and Friday, so I could kind of see them trying to generate liquidity, kind of holding price for a little bit. Some people think they see Thursday and Friday was falling and they're just like, oh, it's going to continue. They don't want people just jumping in shorts immediately. They build liquidity. Oh, my Siri's going off. Okay. The dollar is peaking above a significant swing high. And we got ES just retracing more into the middle of its range. Glad to see the dollar do that after this 3 drives pattern. NASDAQ, similar. Okay, the dollar is breaking above, further out of its little consolidation range above 2 swing highs. Hopefully, see if that catalyzes anything in the indices. Still moving sideways. At least it isn't confusing price action. It's just like working this range. It's not just making no sense at all. It's telling us very clearly that it doesn't want to do anything, which is nice because we know just to stay out of it and wait. The range is getting even smaller, the consolidation range. It is. Wow. The dollar still inching its way higher though. But yikes. Okay, we're heading towards the bottom of the range, towards the new week opening gap. Oh my god, this is painful. I wonder what the Dow's doing. Let's look at the Dow. I mean, it looks the same, but nice. It's a good Dow. We are waiting patiently to leave this range. See some kind of liquidity be taken. Hopefully by 3 or 3:15, that next macro price will kick in and do something. We are waiting. Still waiting. Okay, so on NQ you can see we took this low. A little SMT divergence right there. Took the low on NQ. Not that that means anything too much right now in this range, but good to note. It's good to note because if we start getting animated to the upside, depending on how that looks, it will kind of tip its hand on whether, are we targeting liquidity to sweep and reverse, or was this down here the liquidity that was swept to go to our actual target. So it's like kind of helps you frame what side is the stop rate and what side's the target for smart money. But we have yet to see anything give us more proof. We'd also want to, so one thing to think of is we're not trading, since we're so close to the new week opening gap, we're not going to be trading to it as a target. We're going to be trading away from it. So we're going to kind of use the new week opening gap as a line in the sand where liquidity is our target is going to be either to the upside in the direction of this buy side liquidity away from the new week opening gap, or it's going to be when we get through the new week opening gap to the bottom and more further downside price action. But what we won't do is we won't target either side from the opposite side, if that makes sense. We are going to wait for it to deliver. Like, we will only go long and target buy side while we are above it, and we will only enter shorts and target sell side when we are below it. You don't want to try and target through the new week opening gap when you're this low. Say we were a little bit higher and the new week opening gap was a target, then you can target to and through it. Those are always pretty nice setups. But when we're this close to it, we're not going to count it as the target because we're 2 handles away from it. So we won't target on the other side of it until we're through it. At least that's how I use it. Okay, the dollar, it took some swing highs, kind of came down. Looks like it wants to keep going higher. See if that will send us out of this range. Yeah, we're definitely, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything until either 3 or 3:15 now. We're just bar coded for an hour. Didn't even move 10 handles for this past hour. Okay, so if we do get below this new week opening gap, I'm probably going to wait for a 5-minute close because see how many times the 5-minute wicked into it, and it just wicked and then withdrew. So we're going to wait for a 5-minute close unless it gets like really, really heavy, and it's like obvious that the 5-minute is going to end up closing below it. I would like to see us go down below this red line and then have that turn into a wick, because then we can target the buy side. Okay, we're touching the top of the new week opening gap. Dollar still rising. Okay, I'm watching, see how NQ is making this lower low right here. I am more interested in like an SMT divergence with these lows, just because those are lunch lows. Gonna look at NQ real quick. So NQ took that little high, then reversed, came down. But I'm going to stick to watching ES just because I like the way it's treating its new week opening gap. I feel like it's obeying the new week opening gap more strictly. Okay, we're coming in to the 3 o'clock hour. Let's see. 3 o'clock, here we are. So I suppose if you had to find a silver bullet, you could have called it for the 2 to 3. This could have been it. You could have just used it as an inversion to the downside. Or if you were on NQ, this would have looked a little better. On NQ, this high took that high out. And then, you take out a 5-minute high, go lower, enter in on that fair value gap. So here's NQ. You would have entered in right there to go a little lower. That could have been a fair value gap that delivered 5 handles or 10 handles. It's always there. Doesn't mean we always need to take it. Okay. So the NASDAQ took a lunch low right there. But it might be corrected right here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, nice. Seeing some animation. It's the last hour of trading. Let's see how we treat this new week opening gap and these lunch lows. Like I said, I want to wait, be a little more patient. I'd like to see a 5-minute close below. Dollar's pushing up. I like the idea of downside price action, rising dollar, dropping indices. I want to see us come up and respect the bottom of that new week opening gap. I don't want to see any of this coming down and shooting right back up. Okay, it definitely looks like this 5-minute candle is going to be closing below this new week opening gap. We start to contemplate the idea of entries. So what I would like to see, what I'd really like for an entry would be if this 5-minute candle, we're going to have to wait for this. It's going to be patient, and we might not get it. But this 5-minute candle to create a fair value gap. So we'll have to wait for the next 5-minute candle to start, then finish the fair value gap, and then we'll have to wait for the next 5-minute candle to enter it. I'd enter it, and then what you can do is you can use the new week opening gap as levels for stop placement. I am watching the dollar. So if we are, so the sell side we're looking for is, I'm going to take that off the chart. So we've got sell side here. And then down here. And those are some pretty good distances. So I'm definitely fine with waiting for that idea that I just explained to play out. Because it would be a lot more confident of an entry, and then it's a good distance. Entry's a good distance. We've got about 2 minutes left until this fair value, or this 5-minute candle finishes. We'll print another one, and then I like the idea of, yeah, trying to enter on that 5-minute, which would probably be this 1 minute. At the same time. Then what you would do is you'd have this fair value gap, you'd have this volume imbalance, and then you'd have the new week opening gap as 3 things between that and your stop. It'll also be above 50% of that 5-minute fair value gap. Okay, we got the new 5-minute printing. It is looking a little heavy, so we'll see whether it wants to go back up there or not. Let's see with the dollar. Make sure we're watching the dollar at the same time. I want to make sure we're on sides with the dollar. So we want a rising dollar. Ooh, I was hoping that candle would close at the top of the high. Let's see if we can get it. Price wants it. Come on, get up there. Maybe it's just going to wait for that. For 315. The 315 kill zone. Come on. Oh no. So you also got this 3-minute fair value gap. I don't often look or enter on the time frames between 1 and 5, but they are enough to justify missing a move. So say if this kind of does this and then just drops and you're like, oh, it never went up to my fair value gap. Well, the explanation will be if you go and look at the 2, 3, or 4, there was a fair value gap right here that it did enter on. It makes things a little tricky. We're already at 2 losses today, so I'm going to hold off for that fair value gap. Looks like it wants it. That got us in. Come on. Cool, we're in. Let's see how it behaves. See what the dollar does. We also have map out this volume imbalance. But I want to see the body close. watching the dollar. I don't want to see the dollar start to turn around here. Okay. Okay, so this, the bottom of this new week opening gap is kind of like our line in the sand. Damn. Okay. This price wants to take sell side and go up. Let's see. The dollar dropping. Dollar seems to be dropping decently well. Seems like it's reaching for this buy side liquidity. Let's watch. Just waiting to see if it actually wants to run for this buy side. It's just been generating all that buy side. I feel like a lot of times in power hour, the last hour, it'll wait until like the last like 15 minutes and then it'll run. It'll do its run on liquidity. Okay, that's it for the day then. Let's see. It's always a pain when it treats the new week opening gap like this. It just like chops all in through it. Okay, I'm gonna log off just to prevent myself from taking another trade. I'll probably come back later on in the afternoon and just check, see if that buy side was taken. It's too tempting for me right now.